Why do so many elderly individuals begin to fade after reaching 80? Even those who are mentally sharp and physically capable just a few years earlier often start declining. Most people believe what happens after 80 is simply about genetics or fortunate circumstances. But that's not the complete picture. In this video, we'll examine 5 unexpected factors that are frequently overlooked and rarely discussed. Factors that explain why numerous older adults find it difficult to maintain health or longevity beyond 80. These aren't the common culprits like exercise habits, smoking, or dietary choices. These are more nuanced, subtle elements that often go unnoticed, even in individuals who've done most things correctly. The encouraging news is that once you recognize these factors, you can take action. So if you've wondered what truly hinders longevity after 80 and how to protect yourself while time is still on your side, continue watching until the conclusion of this video. Because understanding these 5 unexpected reasons might help you transform your aging process before it's too late. Now, let's begin. Number 1. Loss of microsocial engagement. One of the earliest and most overlooked reasons many elderly people don't survive long after 80 is the silent disappearance of what specialists call microsocial engagement. These aren't your meaningful friendships or family gatherings. Those remain important, of course, but rather the small, seemingly trivial interactions that used to fill your daily existence without your awareness. Consider how frequently you used to greet the mail carrier, exchange a quick joke with the grocery store cashier, or acknowledge the neighbor walking their dog across the street. Those tiny moments of human contact weren't merely pleasant. They were regulating your nervous system, reinforcing your sense of belonging, and keeping your brain's social circuitry active and engaged. But after reaching 80, many elderly individuals stop going to stores themselves. They order online or request family assistance. They cease chatting with strangers because their hearing has diminished. Or they stop walking outdoors simply because the weather feels slightly too cold, or their knees seem unsteady. When those small social touch points begin fading away, so does something else: vitality. What's fascinating is that most people don't even realize this is happening. They believe they're just simplifying their lives. But what they're actually doing is eliminating the low-level social interactions that stimulate brain function, improve mood, and signal to the body that they remain part of the living, breathing, everyday world. It doesn't require complexity. I've known men in their 80s who maintained mental sharpness simply because they walked to the same coffee shop each morning, greeted the same staff, and acknowledged the same 3 individuals on the corner. That 5-minute period of human connection wasn't just routine, it was lifeblood. It structured their day, it kept them accountable, it made them feel visible. There's a biological cost when this disappears. The brain responds to loneliness, both profound and subtle forms, as a stressor. It alters hormone levels, increases inflammation, and weakens immunity. But most importantly, it begins shrinking the neural networks responsible for memory, attention, and emotional regulation. Simply put, it accelerates the feeling of aging. So if you've found yourself conversing less with people during the day, or if you've simply stopped venturing out for small errands, ceased initiating casual conversations, or begun feeling invisible in your community, it's time to reverse course. Because those moments of connection, even seemingly forgettable ones, are quietly telling your brain and body that you still matter. You're still part of something, and that message is one of the most powerful medicines for staying alive, not just in years, but in spirit. Number 2, overcautious inactivity. Another silent reason many individuals don't progress far beyond 80 is something that superficially resembles wisdom: being careful. But there's a narrow distinction between being careful and becoming excessively cautious. Once that boundary is crossed, the consequences rarely appear immediately, but they always accumulate. It typically begins with good intentions. Perhaps you slipped on stairs once or nearly lost balance on the sidewalk, so you decide to reduce outdoor walking. You stop bending to reach lower shelves or climbing into car back seats. You sit more frequently and remain seated longer. People around you praise your caution. Don't push yourself, they say. Take it easy. And before you realize it, you've created a life that's safe, but sedentary. But here's what no one discusses. When movement ceases, so does strength. Not just in your limbs, but in coordination, balance, and inner stability. Your body isn't a machine that preserves efficiency through rest. It's more like a garden requiring constant attention. When activity diminishes, things don't simply remain static, they deteriorate. One of the first areas affected is the core. Most people don't appreciate how crucial those deep trunk muscles are for everything: standing, walking, lifting, even rising from a chair. When those muscles go unused, even briefly, they atrophy. As they shrink, your balance declines, you begin wobbling, and the cycle intensifies. I knew a man named Robert, age 82, who discontinued his evening walks after slipping once on a rainy day. No fractures occurred, just a frightening moment, but that scare was sufficient. He transitioned from walking a mile nightly to watching television most evenings. Within 6 months, he lost 10 pounds of muscle. His legs felt unsteady. His physician warned him, but the damage had already begun. Robert didn't stop because of weakness. He became weak because he stopped. I'm not suggesting ignoring genuine risks. There are intelligent ways to protect yourself, using handrails, wearing stable footwear, clearing walkways, even using walking aids when helpful. But there's a distinction between managing risk and surrendering to it. When fear dictates your movements, the body gradually forgets how to move altogether. So if you've noticed decreased activity, not from physical inability, but from fear of potential consequences, pay attention. Ask yourself, am I protecting myself, or am I slowly disappearing? Because surviving beyond 80 isn't merely about avoiding falls, it's about continuing movement, even if done more carefully, slowly, and deliberately. Movement reminds the body it's still needed. It keeps your systems functioning, your brain alert, and your heart pumping with purpose. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment more below to indicate your presence. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend subscribing and activating notifications so you don't miss future videos. Your support helps us continue creating quality content to inform and inspire you. Now let's continue. Number 3. Disrupted sleep cycles from irregular light exposure. There's a silent timekeeper inside your body that doesn't tick, but governs almost everything: your mood, metabolism, immune system, even how your brain repairs itself nightly. After age 80, this internal clock, your circadian rhythm, becomes particularly sensitive. Number 3. Disrupted sleep cycles from irregular light exposure. One major cause of disruption: insufficient daylight exposure and excessive nighttime light. You might not initially notice. Perhaps you've begun sleeping more during the daytime, dozing in afternoon sunlight, or maybe you've reduced outdoor activities, especially during colder months. You might watch television in the evenings or keep lights on until late while reading or viewing movies. Each change might seem harmless, but collectively, they quietly confuse your body about appropriate times for alertness versus rest. The body depends on natural light for rhythm maintenance. Bright morning light signals your brain it's time to awaken, become active, and direct energy appropriately. Darkness at night triggers melatonin release, that gentle hormone preparing you for restorative sleep. But when your eyes receive inadequate natural daylight, or when evenings include artificial brightness from screens or lamps, your internal signals become confused. Consequently, you might experience difficulty falling asleep or staying asleep. You might wake feeling groggy despite 8 hours in bed. You might find your energy declining throughout the day, or your memory seeming hazier than usual. Over time, sleep disruption affects more than energy. It weakens immune function, destabilizes mood, and increases the risk of cognitive decline. There's also the vitamin D consideration, which the body naturally produces when skin contacts sunlight. After 80, your ability to synthesize vitamin D through the skin decreases, making regular outdoor exposure more critical. Without it, your bones, muscles, and immune system all suffer. I once spoke with a woman named Patricia, 84, who felt increasingly fatigued and disoriented. Her laboratory tests appeared normal. Her diet remained unchanged, and she wasn't taking any new medications. The breakthrough came when her physician simply recommended spending 20 minutes each morning sitting near a window with the blinds fully open and turning off screens 1 hour before bedtime. Within 2 weeks, her sleep improved. So did her memory and mood. It wasn't a new medication, it was light. So if you're spending most of your time indoors behind drawn curtains, or if your evenings include blue light from phones or televisions, consider changing. Try getting outside within an hour of waking, even briefly on your porch. Let your eyes and skin absorb morning light. During evenings, reduce lighting. Allow your body to prepare for rest. These gentle rhythms exceed mere comfort. They promote survival. Many people don't realize the body ages not just from wear and tear, but from disorganization, from systems becoming unsynchronized. Restoring light exposure patterns, sleep schedules, and daily rhythms helps reestablish that organization. That's how you signal your body, even at 85, that you're still maintaining schedule, still in motion, still present. Number 4, emotional suppression from loss and isolation. By their 80s, many people have experienced more loss than younger individuals can comprehend. A spouse, sibling, lifelong friend, sometimes even a child. While society offers polite sympathy, what's rarely acknowledged is how these losses accumulate, not just emotionally, but physically. What commonly happens after 80 isn't merely grief, but emotional suppression, the gradual, quiet habit of internalizing pain rather than expressing it, of maintaining composure because you feel you should be accustomed to loss by now, or because nobody remains who truly understands the depth of your experience. But here's the reality. The body remembers everything. When grief remains unprocessed, not verbalized, shared, or fully experienced, it doesn't simply vanish. It becomes stored. Eventually, that emotional burden manifests physically. It impacts your immune system, digestion, and sleep. It alters hormones. It places your nervous system in perpetual subtle tension. Most challenging of all, it occurs silently. Outwardly, you might appear composed. You might even claim you're fine. But if your shoulders feel heavier, your breathing shallower, your enthusiasm diminished just enough that you no longer feel authentic, unacknowledged grief might be responsible, even if you haven't discussed it for years. I recall a man named David, 86, who lost his wife of 6 decades. He rarely cried, claiming it wasn't his nature, insisting he was managing well. Yet within a year he lost weight, stopped attending community center activities, and developed sleep difficulties, not from illness, but because his body carried sorrow, never permitted release. Emotional pain doesn't require drama to cause damage. By the time it manifests in health issues, the connection isn't always evident. What sustains people beyond 80 often isn't merely physical resilience, it's emotional ventilation. It's having safe, accessible outlets for sadness, fear, and longing. It's being able to say, I miss her, or I remain angry, or I feel isolated, without judgment. Such release allows the heart to breathe again. When the heart breathes, the body heals. That's why long-lived individuals typically maintain some outlet, perhaps a trusted friend, journal, faith community, support group, or therapist, helping them process long-carried narratives. Whatever the form, the principle remains consistent. What gets expressed can transform. What remains buried ferments. So if you've been containing emotions, not by choice, but from lacking appropriate outlets, create space, not just for emotional health, but for survival. The heart can only carry so much before quietly shutting down. If you wish to thrive beyond 80, not merely breathing, but truly living, allow yourself to feel. If you're still watching and finding value in these insights, please comment more below to indicate your presence. If you haven't subscribed, I recommend subscribing and activating notifications to avoid missing future videos. Your support helps us continue creating quality content. Number 5. Gradual loss of daily purpose. One nearly invisible reason many people don't thrive past 80 is the gradual erosion of something often taken for granted until it vanishes. Daily purpose. Not life purpose in some grand philosophical sense, but simpler purpose. What motivates morning awakening provides destinations and creates social connections. Purpose needn't be dramatic. It might involve watering plants before excessive heat, feeding a neighborhood cat awaiting your appearance, writing to grandchildren, or repairing household items. But when these small routines disappear, when mornings arrive without motivation and evenings conclude without noteworthy reflection, something internally begins quietly shutting down. The body listens attentively to the mind. When the mind no longer perceives reasons for continuation, the body follows suit. Appetite diminishes. Movement decreases. Without purpose, health-regulating systems become dormant, not from malfunction, but from awaiting reasons for reactivation. This progression often escapes notice because it happens gradually. Perhaps your weekly card game ended. Maybe your church group disbanded. Perhaps family visits decreased, or your volunteer role concluded when joint pain began. You convince yourself it's normal aging, but subconsciously you sense it. Days merging together, each progressively quieter. I once met a woman named Susan, 88, who seemed more vibrant than many half her age. She wasn't wealthy, perfectly healthy, or surrounded by extensive family, but she maintained one consistent element. Every Monday she wrote postcards to homebound church members. Every Thursday she prepared soup for a local shelter. Daily at 4 p.m., she observed neighborhood children returning from school. She knew their names and exchanged waves with them. Nothing glamorous, but it provided her days with texture, her heart with rhythm, her life with continuity. That's the secret. The body remains alive while it believes it serves a purpose. Purpose, even minimal, functions as fuel. It instructs your cells to continue repairs, organs to maintain function, and the brain to keep learning. When relevance diminishes, when your presence seems inconsequential, your internal flame begins dimming. That explains why individuals thriving beyond 80 typically maintain daily anchors, perhaps gardening, pet care, journaling rituals, communication, or morning meditation. So if you've felt adrift with shapeless or meaningless days, don't disregard those feelings. That's more than sadness. It's a signal. Your body seeks rhythm again, structure, connection, purpose. Because ultimately, longevity exceeds heartbeats. It's about the heart wanting to continue beating, that quiet desire to persist, remain connected, and matter. That's what carries people beyond 80 into fulfilling lives. As we conclude this video, I offer a simple yet powerful truth. Most people don't decline after 80 because of singular events. It's not diagnoses, accidents, or birthdays that suddenly change everything. It's the gradual, quiet fading of habits, rhythms, and reasons for engagement. Often these changes occur so subtly that awareness comes only after something internal feels dimmer than before. But encouragingly, just as these shifts happen incrementally, they can be reversed incrementally. One outdoor walk, one additional conversation with someone while shopping, one morning stretch, one activity performed not from obligation, but because it provides structure, connection, or meaning. Reflect on the 5 unexpected factors we've discussed. Which surprised you most? Which felt uncomfortably familiar? Most importantly, Which will you address, even modestly, beginning today? Because you possess more influence than you realize, not to halt aging, but to modify how you age. If you remain attentive to subtle shifts, if you protect your rhythms, preserve your purpose, and process necessary emotions, you won't merely reach 80. You'll thrive beyond it, fully, deeply, on your terms. Thank you for joining us today. We welcome your feedback. Comment below, sharing one insight you gained today and how you'll apply it. Your thoughts matter greatly, so please share them. Reading your comments provides us tremendous motivation and encouragement. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support enables us to continue creating valuable content. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to connecting in our next video.